It's 2:17 in the morning. You're lying alone in your bedroom. The door's locked, the windows are shut. Your phone is right beside you. There are no tigers outside, no wolves, no bears, no animal anywhere nearby with the teeth or claws to tear you apart. In fact, from a purely practical point of view, you may be sleeping in one of the safest environments any human being has ever enjoyed in the entire history of our species. And yet, click, a tiny sound comes from the hallway. Your eyes open. Your heart beats just a little faster. You tell yourself, it's probably just the house settling. Then, click, there it is again. Only this time, it sounds closer. And within seconds, your adult, modern, educated brain, the same brain that understands physics, electricity, biology, and knows there is no scientific confirmation that ghosts are wandering through your hallway, starts doing something completely irrational. It gives the darkness a face, a silhouette, a presence, something standing just outside your door. Think about that for a moment. If I told you, there's a leopard in your hallway, you would immediately start asking questions. How did it get inside? Who saw it? Where did it come from? Is there security footage? But if I simply whispered, there's something standing outside your door, and I don't know what it is, suddenly, your imagination is perfectly capable of doing the rest. And that brings us to a strange contradiction. Why can something with real teeth, real claws, and a very real ability to kill us sometimes feel less frightening than something we aren't even sure exists? The answer doesn't begin in a graveyard. It doesn't begin inside a haunted house. And it doesn't even begin with religion. It begins with a small, frightened human brain, sitting in the darkness hundreds of thousands of years ago. Imagine that you are one of your distant ancestors. No electricity, no streetlights, no steel doors, no security cameras, no internet to tell you what made that sound in the bushes. The sun has gone down, and darkness is actually dark. You hear leaves moving nearby. There are two possibilities. Possibility number one, it's just the wind. Possibility number two, something is moving toward you. Now, think about this from an evolutionary perspective. If you mistake the wind for a predator, you panic, you run, you waste a little energy. Maybe you look ridiculous, nothing terrible happens. But if you mistake a predator for the wind, you may never get the chance to make another mistake. So the human brain developed a strategy heavily biased toward survival. When you're uncertain, assume something might be there. Our brains are remarkably sensitive to signs of agency. The possibility that an intentional creature or person is behind an ambiguous event. A branch snaps. Your brain doesn't simply register. Sound detected. It asks, who broke it? A shadow moves. Your brain doesn't just process changing light. It asks, who's standing there? Something knocks against the roof. And instead of thermal expansion of construction materials, your half-asleep brain asks, who just knocked? Notice the most important word. Who, not what. Who? The human brain has an extraordinary tendency to turn uncertainty into an agent, something with intention, something watching, something that might know you're there. Now imagine a tiger standing in front of you. Make no mistake, you would be terrified, and you absolutely should be. But the tiger possesses one characteristic that makes it strangely easier for your brain to understand. It has limits. It has a body. It occupies a specific location. It has to move from point A to point B. It cannot walk through a wall. It cannot appear in the mirror and disappear the moment you turn around. It cannot simultaneously be behind you and underneath your bed. You can see it. You can track it. The distance between you and the animal can be measured. A physical threat has coordinates. But a ghost? In human imagination, ghosts don't have to obey physics. You lock the door? It walks through it. You turn on the lights? It disappears. You run? Maybe it follows you. You hide under the blankets? Fine. Then your brain asks one particularly unpleasant question. What if it's already inside the room? And that is one reason supernatural fear can sustain itself so effectively. With an ordinary physical threat, evidence helps define the danger. But with an imagined supernatural threat, the absence of evidence doesn't always make the fear disappear. When you're frightened enough, sometimes finding nothing makes the mystery even worse. Have you ever looked at a coat hanging over a chair in a dark room? and for half a second been absolutely convinced it was a person? Not. That sort of looks human. I mean that genuine half-second jolt. Your heart jumps. Your body freezes. Your eyes widen. Then, you switch on the light. Oh, it's a jacket. You feel ridiculous. But your brain doesn't care about your dignity. As far as evolution is concerned, it did its job. It detected a possible threat before confirming whether the threat was real. Human beings are exceptionally good at finding faces, bodies, intentions, and meaningful patterns in incomplete information. That is why curtains can become a woman standing in the corner. 2 dark spots on a wall become eyes. A twisted tree becomes a hanging body. 3 strange reflections in a photograph become someone was watching us. Now add darkness, add exhaustion, add isolation, and add the ghost story you heard when you were 7 years old about a pale woman with long hair who appears after midnight. Congratulations, you've just given your brain everything it needs to produce its own horror movie. No subscription required. This is where the story becomes truly strange. You wake up at 3 in the morning. Your eyes open. You can see the ceiling. You hear the fan. You know you're in your bedroom, but you cannot move. You cannot lift your arm. You cannot turn your head. You cannot scream. And then you feel it. Someone else is in the room. Not merely a vague thought. For some people, the sensation of another presence can feel overwhelmingly real. Some see a shadowy person. Some hear footsteps. Some feel something pressing down on their chest. Some feel as though they can't breathe. Today, we have a name for this: sleep paralysis. During REM sleep, the brain normally suppresses much of the body's voluntary muscle movement. This is useful. Otherwise, acting out every dream about running, fighting, jumping, or falling would make sleeping beside another human being a fairly dangerous hobby. But sometimes consciousness returns before that muscular inhibition has completely disappeared. Your mind wakes up. Your body hasn't fully caught up. And hallucination-like experiences can sometimes accompany the episode. But remember, your ancestors didn't know what REM sleep was. They didn't understand temporary muscle atonia. They didn't have sleep laboratories. They knew only 4 things. I'm awake. I can't move. Something is pressing on my chest. And I can see it. How would you explain that? A ghost, a demon, a witch, a spirit trying to kill me. And this is where history gets wonderfully bizarre. Cultures separated by enormous distances developed supernatural explanations for terrifying nighttime experiences. In European traditions, there was the incubus, a supernatural being associated with visiting sleepers at night. Northern European folklore gave us the Mara, a malevolent nighttime being historically connected with oppressive dreams. This is also part of the linguistic ancestry behind the English word nightmare. Over time, other traditions developed figures such as the old hag, an eerie old woman said to sit on a sleeper's chest, leaving the victim conscious but unable to move. Think about how extraordinary that is. Someone centuries ago wakes up. They cannot move. They feel something on their chest. They see a terrifying figure. Somewhere else, another person experiences something remarkably similar. They don't have social media. They don't have neuroscience. They don't have a group chat where someone says, "Relax, bro, that's sleep paralysis." They have the same thing instead: a human brain. And similar human nervous systems, under similar strange conditions, can generate remarkably similar kinds of terror. The demon changes its name. The details change. The clothing changes, the mythology changes, but the sensation that something is standing in the darkness may be much older than any particular ghost story. A wolf from thousands of years ago and a wolf today are still recognizably wolves. But ghosts are extraordinarily adaptable. At one point, the terror might be a demon sitting on your chest, then a witch visiting at night, then a woman in white, a headless figure, a shadow person, a cursed spirit. And in modern times, some frightening nighttime experiences have even been interpreted through stories about alien visitors or strange humanoid beings standing beside the bed. The underlying human experience may remain similar. The story wrapped around it changes. And that is something a tiger cannot do. A tiger cannot release a culturally updated version of itself every generation. A ghost can, because ghosts occupy a very different ecosystem. The collective human imagination. Imagine two identical hotel rooms. Room number 1. I tell you it's an ordinary room. You walk inside. Turn off the lights. Go to sleep. Room number 2. Before you enter, I quietly tell you, 17 years ago, someone died in this room. That's all. The bed hasn't changed. The walls haven't changed. The temperature hasn't changed. The air hasn't changed. But when the lights go out, every sound suddenly means something different. The plumbing makes a noise. Someone's walking. Wind passes the window. Someone's breathing. The curtain moves. Something just moved. The room didn't change. The model inside your head did. And that reveals something incredibly powerful about human culture. We don't learn about danger only through direct experience. We inherit danger through stories. If someone in your village is killed by a tiger, you don't need to personally get bitten by a tiger to learn that tigers are dangerous. Someone tells you. You remember. You survive. Now apply the same learning machinery to supernatural stories. If you grow up hearing that cemeteries are haunted, that abandoned houses contain spirits, that mirrors become dangerous after midnight, that you should never answer when something calls your name from the darkness, your brain may store those stories as maps of possible danger, not necessarily because the stories are true, but because humans evolved to learn from other humans. And for most of our history, ignoring somebody's warning could be extremely expensive. Try a little experiment. Tonight, before going to sleep, watch a documentary showing a lion hunting an antelope. It's brutal. The lion is fast, powerful, dangerous. A lion can kill a human being. But when the video ends, you put down your phone, turn off the light, and you know the lion from the documentary is not inside your bedroom. Now watch a ghost movie. A character sees a dark figure at the end of a hallway. The movie ends. You put down your phone, turn off the light, and suddenly there is a problem. Because the environment from the movie looks suspiciously similar to the environment around you. Darkness, a doorway, a mirror, a hallway, the space underneath the bed, a wardrobe. All of those things are sitting right beside you. A lion needs a habitat. A ghost only needs a dark corner. A tiger needs a body. A ghost only needs a possibility. And for a nervous brain searching for threats, sometimes possibility is enough. The title of this story deliberately presents a paradox. Scientifically, we cannot say that every human being is always more afraid of ghosts than dangerous animals. If you are standing 3 meters away from a hungry tiger, trust me, your philosophical debate about the supernatural is going to end very quickly. Direct fear of an immediate physical threat can be overwhelming. The strange part happens under different circumstances. Even when the real danger is absent, an imagined danger can still activate the alarm system. You may rationally know the bedroom is empty, but your fear system does not always wait for your rational brain to finish its investigation. It reacts first. Questions come later. And from an evolutionary perspective, that makes sense. If the thing moving in the bushes really is a tiger, you don't want your ancestors spending 30 seconds conducting a peer-reviewed analysis. You want them to move immediately. We built cities. We illuminated the streets. We pushed large predators away from many populated areas. We built houses with concrete walls. We installed locks, cameras, motion sensors. We sleep with smartphones inches away from our faces. But there is one wall we have never been able to build. A wall between ourselves and our imagination. You can remove the wolf from the city, but you cannot remove the brain's instinct to hear a strange sound and ask, "Who's there?" You can turn on the lights, but eventually, the power goes out. You can understand sleep paralysis, but understanding why something happens does not necessarily make the experience pleasant. When you wake up unable to move and feel as though someone is standing beside your bed, part of your brain is incredibly ancient. It does not understand security cameras. It does not care about your university degree. It does not care that your apartment is 17 floors above the ground. It knows something much simpler: darkness, sound, unknown source, possible agent. Prepare. So the next time you're lying alone at night, and you hear a quiet click from the hallway, remember something. The most frightening thing in that room may not be a ghost. It may not be a demon. It may be an ancient survival machine weighing a little over a kilogram, sitting inside your skull. A machine shaped by countless generations to find faces in darkness, to detect intention in noise, to transform uncertainty into danger. A machine designed to frighten you 100 times when nothing is there, rather than let you remain calm the one time something actually is. And maybe that is why humanity has never completely escaped its ghosts, not necessarily because they are standing in the darkness, but because our brains were built to keep checking whether something is. Wait, did you hear that? If you enjoy stories where history, biology, psychology, and the strangest corners of human behavior collide, subscribe to the channel. Because next time, we're going even deeper into the ancient fears our ancestors carried inside their heads, and somehow passed all the way down to us.